seems when you turn on the TV, radio, or social media these days, there's a lot of darkness out there. We hear words like pandemic, heat dome, drought, global warming, widespread flooding, energy crisis, and of course, upcoming election. Many of these situations are beyond our control to fix, and dwelling on them causes depression and despair. As we are a rural population, we often start a conversation with discussing the weather, and presently that's pretty desolate. And then, of course, there's the C word that pops up in conversations, despite saying, let's not talk about Okay. We are not the first peoples to experience despair and darkness. In just over the last 100 years, we've experienced world wars, cold wars, revolutions, famines, and floods. Delving farther back into the past, there have been the Dark Ages, countless wars over property, religion, economic power, and just plain old family feuds. The earth has also endured ice ages, causing its inhabitants to move and adjust accordingly. The Bible records wars, pestilence, plagues, and a great flood. And going even farther back, Genesis chapter 1, verse 2 states, "The earth was formless and empty, and darkness covered the deep waters." The darkness can almost take the breath out of us and wonder why we exist. Well, Genesis chapter 1, verse 3 says, "Then God said, 'Let there be light,' and there was light." So, light is made up of wavelengths, and each wavelength is a particular color. The color we see is a result of which wavelengths are reflected back to our eyes. There are 3 primary colors, red, yellow, and blue. By blending the primary colors, the multitudes of hues that are produced give our earth beauty and appreciation of what God has created. And if you want to know more about how many colors there are, just try choosing a paint color for a room in your house. I wanted white trim in my kitchen, and my brother, the artist, asked, "Which color of white?" The one we finally chose was called Fuzzy Mittens, and I sure would like to know who gets paid to come up with the names for these colors. God continued on and gave us day and night. From this, we have stunning sunrises and sunsets to tantalize us. The moonlit nights give us comfort with the muted hues produced. The moonless nights can give you colorful bruises the next day from the things we've bumped into. And in the daylight, he went on to give us a world of color in the rocks, insects, plants, and animals galore to draw our eyes away from our problems and give us much happiness. The vast expanse of blue sky speaks of the heavens, and the oceans remind us of the power of God. The riot of marigolds in the garden at Cypress Lodge and the sunny little cross on our church lawn make us smile with warmth. The rocky grays and browns of the mountains and hills are full of strength, and the boldly colored birds, butterflies, and caterpillars are flashes of color to catch our eye unexpectedly. After the great flood, God used the spectrum of colors in a rainbow, telling Noah, "I have placed my rainbow in the clouds. It is the sign of my covenant with you and with all the earth." He used color to give hope and promise to mankind. We use color to show our emotions, to attract attentions, to represent our faith, political affiliation, or national pride. The color of food can make it appetizing or not. Color is used to attract mates or encourage pollination in living creatures, and it can also be used for protection in forms of camouflage. Light and color, gifts from God, are very influential in how we view the world. At this point, I thought about researching the symbols of color, but that was mind-boggling, and as Keegan often says, researching can take you down many rabbit holes, something I found out when attempting to do so. So I've forgone that route and decided that my ultimate message is, color makes me happy and positive, full of delight and hope, dispelling darkness. I realize not everyone can see color. Fortunately, God has given us other ways to appreciate creation. We also have the ability to smell, touch, taste, and hear the beautiful things around us. God has given us so many blessings to give us hope and a positive attitude. I choose to use color today because I couldn't produce the scent of fresh baked bread for you, or the smell of rain. And if I tried to sing, I would have appreciated the darkness part of darkness part of this little talk. I do, however, so appreciate those who can bring those blessings to us. I'd like to thank Eleanor for our conversation last week, as she gave me the idea for this sermon. We discussed the weather, of course, and the lack of rain, and then at the end, she thanked me for ending on a positive note. As I said, we will get through all this as we have done before. Eleanor is our blessing. Last week, the Bible readings were about putting on the armor of God: truth, righteousness, peace, faith, salvation, and the Word of God. Today, I put on the armor of color to remind us that from darkness, God gives us light, God gives us color, and God gives us hope.
Amen.
It didn't stop, Ed. It won't stop for me.